Sit bones, feet planted, and then your hands can rest on your thighs. And you might even give your thighs a little massage. Bring the heels of the hands all the way to the hip creases, and then push down through the base of your palm as you slide your hands all the way to your knees. And then grab with your fingers, so kind of almost like scratch, but with your fingers press down as you drag those hands back towards your hip creases. And if that felt good, do it a couple times. And then bring those hands to stillness. Find a little bit more lift through your spine, and maybe close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Shoulders move away from the ears. And see if you can bring all your attention to your breathing. And then take a breath in and hear that inhale. And take a breath out and hear your exhale. And take a few more at your own pace. Play around with the depth and the length of those inhales and exhales. And as you arrive into your practice today, notice if today there is some comfort in, at this moment, just sitting here with your breathing, or if it's a bit challenging. Is there ease just staying, or is there an eagerness to move on? No rights or wrongs, just notice. And see if by coming back to your breathing and the movement of your breath, if there's any eagerness to move on, or even if there is dread to move on. See if the breath can help you steady, can help you find a bit of ease. Take another full breath in, see if you can find just a bit more length. Try to keep the length as you exhale. And then if you had your eyes closed, gently open them. You are looking straight in front of you. And we're going to try and move those eyeballs without moving the head. So with your next breath in, send your gaze up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, lower the gaze down towards the floor. Come back through center, and now send your gaze towards the left without turning your head. And then now send your gaze all the way to the right. And gaze back through center. We'll take those eyes to the ceiling once again. Head stays stable. Just your eyes. And then the gaze goes all the way down to the floor. Back through center and to the left. And then all the way to the right. And then back through center. Take a moment, blink your eyes a few times. So your gaze is going to be also a factor that you can play around with for your balance. And then with your next breath in, let's open up those arms into a T. Palms are facing forward. And as you exhale, bring those arms in front of you, palm to palm, they might touch. Inhale again, arms reach out. See if you can send them back a bit more. Shoulder blades are squeezing, chest broadens. Exhale, arms in front, palm to palm. Again, inhale, open. Exhale, this time cross the right arm over the left. Keep your elbows extended and keep reaching. So notice that constriction in the chest now. Inhale, open again, broaden chest. And exhale, switch left arm over right, cross and reach. As you inhale, open, turn your palms to face back, and then slide the hands behind you. Grab a hold of chair or the other hand as you find a stretch for that chest. So squeeze the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades, puff your chest forward and up any amount. Take a full breath in here. And then on your exhale, try dropping the chin towards your chest, finding some space in the back of your neck. Gaze down, maybe to your toes, a breath in, a breath out. And then release those hands, reach them wide and up. And on your exhale, right hand down for a side bend. Inhale, come back through center. And take it over to your left as you exhale. Back through center, let's do that one more time each side, to the right. Look for that stretch through right side body. And center. And over to your left. Now the stretch is in the, right side this time. As you inhale, come back through center, interlace your fingers overhead, palms towards the ceiling, give yourself a stretch. And now pause here. So feel the stretch, fingers, palms, wrists, armpits, rib cage, waist. One more breath. And on your exhale, arms go out into a T, and we're going to keep them there. The palms are facing out, the fingers are spread, and you're drawing your fingers towards your shoulders. And then keep your arms like that and begin to rotate the upper arm bone in the shoulder. As if you had two windows on each side, or one window on each side, and you're cleaning them with a cloth. And then switch. And then pause here, point your fingers away from you, palms are facing down, and then make a fist. And then drop the knuckles towards the floor and see if you can feel a stretch through the top of your wrist. Take a full breath in here, shoulders down, full breath out. And then with your next inhale, palms face forward, open those hands. And on your exhale, right arm comes across the chest, bend your elbow and use your left hand to draw that elbow in. See if you can feel a stretch through the right shoulder blade area. Full inhale and a full exhale. As you breathe in, open those arms and switching sides. Left arm comes across, elbow bends, right hand draws that elbow in, and then find that stretch through the left side of your upper back. Full inhale and a full exhale. As you breathe in, open up those arms. You could reach them overhead. And then on your exhale, find some space between your knees and your feet. And we're folding forward. Option 1, to fold, reaching forward with your hands. 2, to bring your hands to your thighs. Support your spine as you come forward and down. Dropping the head. Hands transfer to your shins for an inhale, half lift. And as you exhale, fold. And again, halfway lift. Think about lengthening the crown of the head forward. And exhale, fold, dropping the head if that is comfortable. Again, halfway lift, breathing in. Folding forward, breathing out. Last one, inhale, half lift. And exhale, folding forward. As you inhale, rising up, support your spine, hands on your thighs. Head is the last thing to lift, and then bring those feet back to hip width. Now inhale, lifting your heels. You're on the balls of the feet, even the tiptoes. And as you exhale, just drop your right heel down. And then inhale, lift, and drop your left heel down. Inhale, lift, and again, right heel, and lift. and left heel. Now, as you inhale, both heels lift, drop your right heel, and then pause here for a moment. So now think about putting a bit more weight into the right side of the body, your right foot, your right sit bone. And then see if you can just feel a little bit more lightness in your left leg, even left sit bone. Okay? And then continue with that lightness and maybe float those left toes just off the ground just a little bit. And then now, if there is some leaning into that right side, see if you can lift a bit more. So meaning, can you lengthen your torso away from your right sit bone? So rather than leaning over and collapsing into the right side, can you still have weight or more weight into your right side, but lengthen up? Take a full breath in. And then on your exhale, left toes lower, heel lowers, and we're switching. Lift both heels again. And now your left heel is going to lower. You're on the ball of the right foot, on your toes, and then begin to transfer a bit more weight into your left foot, into your left sit bone. And that might mean that you lean over slightly, but don't do too much. And then maybe you can even come a bit lighter on your right foot, lifting those toes just a bit off the ground. And then notice if you're kind of collapsing into your left side and try to lift away from it. There you go. Breathing in and breathing out. One more here. And then as you exhale, toes return, right heel returns, right sit bones well planted. With your next inhale, heel to toe your feet out to the sides. And then heel to toe your feet back in. Inhale again, taking them out, knees go wide, and bringing them back. And one more, taking them out, and bringing them back. This time, take them out, and bring those heels a little in. Now, see if you can come onto the balls of the feet, inhale, and on your exhale, drop your left heel. Inhale, lift, drop your right heel. Inhale, lift, left heel, and lift, and right heel. As you inhale, both heels lift, arms reach tall, and then on your exhale, bend your elbows. Look for more or less 90-degree angles here, palms facing forward. Squeeze shoulder blades open, chest. And as you exhale, elbow to elbow in front of you, but try not to let your knees drop in. And then again, inhale, open. Exhale, elbow to elbow. Inhale, open. And exhale, elbow to elbow. As you breathe in, arms reach tall. On your exhale, your right arm is going to come to the inside of the right leg. Slide it down and see if you can find a side bend. So you're leaning over to the right. Left arm can reach up and over. Pause, breath in. Breath out. As you inhale, bring yourself back up through center, both arms lift. And then left arm to the inside of that left leg, slide it down. And then find that side bend, stretch, right side body. Pause, breath in, breath out. As you inhale, return through center. Both arms can reach tall. And on your exhale, release those hands down, lower your heels, and bring those feet back to hip width. Now come into your heels, so you're lifting the toes and the balls of the feet, and then see if you can slide your heels forward, extending your legs, and you might need to scoot a little forward on the seat of the chair. You're welcome to plant your hands on the seat of the chair too, maybe holding on to the edges of the seat. Take a full breath in, lengthen. Take a full breath out. Pause here, full breath in, and full breath out. Now put a bit more pressure or press through the left heel and see if the right leg can lift any amount of the ground. Try not to change too much else. And then lower that heel and do the same with your left. Left heel lifts or left leg lifts. And lower. Two more. Lift. Lower. and lift and lower. Nice. And then bend those knees, bring your feet back in, plant the soles of the feet, reach your arms overhead, breath in. And on your exhale, slide the right hand behind you, left hand crosses over as you find a twist towards the right side. Now use your left leg to push, or your right leg, sorry, to push into your left hand. So think about pushing out and then pull with your left hand. See if you can find that that argument there. And then come back through center, arms can reach tall. And on your exhale, take it to your other side. Left hand behind us, right hand crosses over, finding your twist on this side, and then find that push of the leg, the left leg into your right hand, and then the pull of the right hand also. Pause for a breath. And then as you breathe in, bring yourself back through center. Your arms could reach tall, and we're folding forward once again. So a bit of space between feet and knees, and then forward fold. Hands to your shins, halfway lift, inhale. Folding forward, exhale. 2 more, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. With your next breath in, rising up, hands can come to thighs, support the spine, and then heel to toe your feet back to hip width. All right, we're going to make our way to standing pretty soon, but before that, let's bring that right knee into the chest, and let's bring a little bit more awareness to that right foot and ankle, because when we're talking about standing, balancing poses, you definitely need some awareness to your feet. So ankle mobility, so that the foot is responsive and it can, it has to kind of tweak, move around a little bit. So that's important. And then give your toes a little wiggle here too. So awareness to all those, the big toe all the way to the pinky toe. Switching direction. Rotating and then pointing and flexing. All right. And then pause that with your foot, and then let's just bring some awareness to that hip. So a little rotation in one direction, and then in the other. And then let's bring some awareness to that kind of external rotation or abduction of that hip, because we'll use that in the tree. That will be an option. So bringing that right knee out to the side, and then see if you can move your shin. So think about keeping your knee out to the side and then lifting the foot and then lowering it. Yeah, there you go. Yes. And bringing that knee back through center, planting. Take a breath in, reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, left arm down, side bend. Come back through center, breathing in. And over to your other side as you breathe out. Back through center, inhale. Find the opposite interlace of your fingers, this time overhead. And then palms towards the ceiling, pausing here once again. Think about lengthening through that upper body, and then imagine also moving your waist or your rib cage away from your hips. One more breath. And then on your exhale, releasing those arms, and let's bring that left knee in towards the chest. So, and again, now some awareness to the left foot, the same as we did before, the ankle, that mobility there, the mobility through your toes. So we're going to be grounding through the feet, and you want to be able to use the whole foot, your toes, your heel, the ball of the foot, switching direction. And then find some flexion and extension, pointing and flexing. And then pausing that and bringing some awareness now to that left hip. And as we approach those balancing poses, try not to think of them as rigid. Okay, try to think of them as somewhat dynamic. So there's some movement there, switch direction. And then bring that knee back, and then we'll take it out to the side. And again, that knee or that thigh moving away, and then see if you can find some movement through the bottom part of your leg. So meaning that your left foot is going to kind of go forward and up without changing the position of your knee. Any amount, see what's available here. So you'll notice that your upper leg bone has to rotate in your hip socket to do this. It's kind of like a version of that figure 4, but the leg is out to the side. All right, and then bring that leg through center, maybe give it a little squeeze in, and then plant that foot. Take a moment, wiggle those toes, give your shoulders a roll. And before we come up to stand, take a pause here. Find a moment of stillness. Come back to your breath. If your eyes were closed, open them, and we'll make our way up to stand. So finding a couple or 3 times up and down. You could also consider this like a dynamic balance, coming up from a seated position, finding your balance on 2 feet, and then returning. Okay. So when you're ready, feet planted, arms can reach forward, and when you want, arms come forward and up. Sit bones lift, and exhale and return. And again, forward, up, feel those feet grounding, and back. And last one like that, forward, up, and slowly return. This time we're staying lifted. We're going to find that chair position. So sit bones are lifted, arms can reach up, take a breath in, and then on your exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Keep the bend in your knees, imagine sitting in an imaginary chair. And now we're going to play a bit with the weight on those feet. So see if you can bring a bit more weight into your right foot, lift your left heel, and even maybe come onto the toes, tiptoes. And then plant your left foot, shift the weight into that left foot, and see if the right heel can lift. And maybe you come onto the tiptoes and there's not that much weight in your right foot. And see if you can do that another time. One more time on each side. Right foot plants, shift the weight on the tiptoes of that left foot. And left foot plants, shift the weight, and maybe onto the tiptoes of that right foot. And then bring yourself back, both feet well planted, and then straighten those legs, rise all the way up tall. And on your exhale, take your arms wide and down by your side. So let's use the seat of the chair first, because, as much as we're going to do some standing balances, there's all million ways to also challenge your balance. So we're going to do one from a table pose using the chair. So standing in front of the seat of the chair, take a full breath in, sweep your arms overhead. And then on your exhale, lower, fold forward, lower the hands onto the chair. Inhale, find a halfway lift or equivalent to a table pose, and exhale, fold. Do that 2 more times. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Now find your halfway lift or your table pose. Your right foot is going to come a little closer to the left so that you've got it a bit more center, and then see if you can lift your left leg all the way out behind you. So you could consider this a balance pose, and we're going to just add some, options here. So first option, leg stays lifted. See if you can come onto the fingertips of your left hand. So palm is lifted. You'll notice now there's a little bit, of a shift here. Okay, you can't put as much weight in your left hand. And maybe you even do a little bit more. Maybe you just keep your thumb or the tip of your thumb down and your other fingers lift off. Maybe the hand floats just off the seat of the chair. It doesn't have to go anywhere else. Just hover. And then plant that left hand. And now try with your right, okay? And notice that there'll be a shift here in your weight too. So come onto the fingertips of your right hand. Maybe onto the thumb. Maybe you float that right hand. Take a breath. And then plant your hand and plant your left foot. Take an inhale, drop the belly, bring the chest forward, lift the gaze. Exhale, round your spine into cow. 2 more times, inhale. Exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And come back to a neutral spine. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So this time your right leg is the one that's going to lift behind you. You're going to try and keep it stable there. And if you find that this is a bit too intense, just drop the toes. So your foot, instead of having it lifted, your foot is going to be a little back, but just keep your toes planted. Okay, so that could be another option here. And then we'll start by lifting the palm of the right hand. So you're on your right fingertips. And then maybe onto the thumb. Gaze is down. Depending how you're feeling here, no rush. Maybe the palm or the hand lifts off the chair. And then if it lifted, plant it, keeping the right leg as is, and then see if you can shift your weight a bit more into your right hand, and then see if the left palm can lift. Maybe the fingers, maybe the whole hand. And then return, right foot comes back onto the mat. Take a breath in, drop belly, chest forward, gaze up. Breath out, round the spine. One more like that. Inhale and exhale. And then from here, transfer hands to your hips, find a generous bend in your knees, and unroll your spine as you rise up to stand. Okay, once you get to standing, let's try some standing balance. So if you want to try block, you could have it nearby on the floor. And we'll find some stages or some options and try them out and see which one will give you kind of that possibility of kind of quiet focus. So we'll ground through the right foot to begin with. And right here in your standing position, just feel a bit more weight into that right foot. And from the outside, you might not have changed anything. Your left foot is still on the ground, but you'll notice that there's less weight in your left foot, right? So see if you can notice or feel that. That is already a balance challenge. You've shifted your center of gravity. You're putting more weight into your right foot. Maybe you can lift the heel, bending that left knee. And again, this already is a challenge for your balance. Maybe the ball of the foot lifts and you're on the tiptoes of that left foot. Now let's all pause here. And then let's notice how the gaze can play into this balance. So start with your gaze forward. And just like we did earlier in practice, send your gaze towards the left. And then bring the gaze through center and take it to the right. Notice those shifts in your balance. And then the gaze comes back through center. And now this one I usually find is the trickier one, is sending the gaze up. And then bring the gaze back through center. And then usually the gaze down is a little more supportive, shall we say. So maybe not straight down, kind of aiming at your toes, but down and at a diagonal to a point on the floor somewhere in front of you. So if you found that that's a helpful place, keep your gaze there, and then we'll add a little bit more, a few more options to your pose. So from here, just like we did seated, see if you can send your left knee to the side. So you're pivoting on your left toes, ball of the foot. And then you could stay here, or for extra balance challenge, your foot could come in towards the standing foot. So you've got less surface to stand on, and that will be already a challenge. Or you could keep your toes a little out to the side, and sometimes that feels a little bit more stable. Pause. Check this out. If you were able to find quiet, stillness, that concentration, focus here, stay. If you needed maybe a different option, foot on the block might be another possibility. And we'll stay with this possibility for now, and then see about your hands. Is it helpful to have them placed, holding on to somewhere on your body or somewhere out of your body? And play around with that positioning. If it's on your body, hips, chest. And find a few moments of silence and quiet. And before we move away from this pose, take a deep breath in. Hear your inhale, feel it. Exhale and also hear it and feel it. And then as you came in with the same intention, see if you can draw that left foot back to the ground, and maybe section or part by part, heel, ball of the foot, toes. And now pay attention to bringing weight back into that left foot and notice how that feels, right? So see if you can feel the weight kind of coming back in, the grounding through the left leg, and then feel the relief on the right leg. Pause. And then use your next inhale to reach your arms overhead. And on your exhale, facing the chair, fold forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale to fold. With your next inhale, hands to your hips, bend into both knees and slowly unroll as you rise up. Find your mountain pose and then sweep your arms wide and overhead. And then as you exhale, left arm down and side stretch. Now pause in this side stretch, and chances are your right leg feels kind of a bit compressed. It was holding all that weight. See if you can use this side stretch to bring some space into your right hip, right side of your waist, and even think about it all the way to your right toes. And then come back through center. And on your exhale, release. All right, so we're going to try that tree pose on the left side. So now your left foot is going to be a grounding one. If you are using your block, plant it to the right. So again, just like we did earlier, slow, step by step, check in, find that a little bit more weight into your left leg, left foot. See if you can feel a little bit lighter on your right foot. And then just like we did at the chair, try not to lean and compress the left side. So you're still lengthening and lifting through your left side. Think about squeezing left glute. Maybe you're coming onto the ball of the right foot. Maybe you're coming all the way onto your tiptoes. And again, notice if this might be enough of a balance, of a challenge to keep you engaged. And you might pause and stay here. Maybe you're pivoting on that right foot, turning your knee to the side. And again, think about the distance between your feet as another factor that you can play with, your toes moving away or moving closer. And then let's play with the gaze here too. So when you're ready, you're gazing forward, and then send your gaze to the right and see if you notice a little wobble come in. And then send your gaze to the left. And then back through center, try looking up. And then try looking down. And bring that gaze back. Maybe you stay with somewhat looking down, but forward too. And then maybe on this side you play around with the block. Maybe your toes come onto the block. Maybe your hands at your hips, maybe your hands at your chest. And this time for 3 cycles of breath, see if you can hear and feel each inhale and each exhale. And in the same way that we came out on the other side, let's do it on this side. So very intentional, moving back, lowering that right heel, the ball of the foot, and the toes. And then taking that moment to notice, again, that grounding back into the right leg, that relief on your left leg. Yeah, maybe it feels good to sway a bit forward and back, and already this can also be a challenge to your balance, to find kind of this rocking on the soles of the feet. And then feet well planted, and as you breathe in, reach your arms overhead. And on your breath out, fold forward. Inhale into a halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, bend those knees, hands to hips, unroll the spine, rising up. And exhale, reach your arms all the way up overhead. And now find a stretch towards the left. So left arm down. No, sorry, towards the right. Right arm down. Reach up and over with your left. And we're trying to create some space in the left side, especially around that left hip. Maybe even you could think about some space in your left knee that we're carrying your weight. And those tree poses are a lot of your weight. And then bring yourself back through center. Inhale. And on your exhale, release your arms down by your side. We'll make our way down to the mat, and we're going to go straight down onto our backs. And so you could do, if you prefer to find a seat in your chair, you could do that instead. If you are coming down to the mat, we can meet in a seated position first. And then with the knees bent, you can slowly lower that back body, finding some of that core engagement, reaching arms forward. And take your time, no rush. And when you're ready, lowering section by section all the way down onto the mat. I'll meet you there. As I say, no rush. Take your time. Whenever you get there, those knees can come in, and then find some rocking from side to side. And as you find or your seat or your way onto your back body, as you find your way there, notice the difference between standing, between those balancing poses that make us somewhat vulnerable. And now see if you can feel the safety of being on the ground or being in a supported position, maybe on your chair. And that's kind of obvious physically, but then what about mentally? What about emotionally? Give yourself a few breaths. And then if you had your knees in towards your chest, take your feet to the mat, plant them, let your knees stay bent, open up your arms out into a T. Feet are going to be wide and some window wiper legs here. So we're going to release a bit those hips, drop the knees towards the left, any amount. Bring them back through center, drop them towards the right. And we're loosening those hips a little bit. They were kind of our stability in those tree poses. We needed them strong, stable, and now we're just trying to loosen them up a little bit. And then when you feel that you've done both sides and you feel more or less, a little looser, more comfortable in the hips, bring your feet back to hip width and then draw your right knee into your chest. You could stay with your left knee bent, or you could slide that left foot forward towards the top of your mat, extending that leg on the mat. And maybe then your hands come to the back of your right thigh and your right leg goes up or extends towards the ceiling. Little rotation through your ankle, little wiggle through your toes. And then bend that knee again, bring both knees in, and then switch. Left knee draws in, right foot stays planted, maybe right knee bent, or you might extend your right leg all the way onto the mat. Again, option of staying with your left knee bent or hands behind the thigh and extend the leg towards the ceiling and find a little movement through your ankle, your toes. After standing on these legs, it's kind of nice to give them a break and to have gravity act on them in the opposite direction. Another breath in, breath out. And then bend that left knee once again. You could bring both knees into your chest for a little squeeze. And then on your exhale, let's find Shavasana. So let's plant those feet. You could choose, find the most comfortable position. You could choose to be here, knees resting against one another. Take a moment to lengthen out your spine. So you might be able to slide the back of the head a little further back. And if you prefer, you could extend your legs out if that's comfortable. Eyes might close. And for these last moments of practice, there is nothing else to do. As best you can, feel the support of the ground. Allow that physical body to pause, to relax, and see what the mind does. As always, if you have the time to stay longer, if you'd like to, please do. If you're ready to move, and try to still take some of this kind of stillness, quiet, introspective aspects into the rest of your day, the possibility of that at least. And then as you tune into your breath, begin to gently move the body and taking your time and moving in any way that feels right to you at this point. Eventually, finding your way into a seat, and we'll meet there to end practice. Your hands might rest in your lap. You might bring your hands and rest them at your chest. You might keep your eyes closed for a few more moments. And we'll acknowledge here the practice itself. We'll acknowledge ourselves for practicing. We'll acknowledge those who practice with us. We'll acknowledge those who make it possible. And we'll end with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.